Hello, I'm Professor Cristiano Casalini, research scholar at the Institute and the chair in the history of Jesuit pedagogy. I teach at Boston College, but I come from Parma, Italy. Welcome to Arevalo. As you can see, it is a very sunny day here, and we made it sunny so that your pilgrimage begins in a bright and warm way. I'll say more about Arevalo in a moment. On our pilgrimage, my role is to serve as your guide and to introduce you to the 12 places we will visit during these 12 weeks as we make our pilgrimage with Ignatius Loyola to Rome. Remember, it is in Rome that the Society of Jesus begins its work. But before arriving there, Ignatius has many stops along the way. We have chosen 12 of them for our pilgrimage, and these stops are immersed in meaning, not just for the life of Ignatius, but also for each of us as we reflect on the journey of our lives. My hope is to introduce you to each place in a way that promotes a deeper understanding of Ignatius and to suggest how these places can help us reflect on our own journey. Father Casey will help in our understanding of the themes for each week so that each week you should have a good sense of the place and theme that we are considering on our pilgrimage. And now, you can see that I'm standing virtually in the historic center of Arevalo, a small town in Spain north of Madrid and not so far from Loyola, Basque countries, the homeland of Ignatius. Welcome. It was here in Arevalo that Ignatius's journey of life truly began. As a member of a noble family that was loyal to the King of Spain, Iñigo, this was his original name, was sent here as a young boy to serve as a page for an official at the court. Here Iñigo would remain for about 13 formative years. What did he learn? What was the core of his formation as a young boy? He certainly learned those organizational skills and techniques that were required to accomplish the tasks of an official for the royal court. But most importantly, he learned through experience and the guidance of his tutors the abilities and arts of living in the consortium of other people: sociability, conversation, good manners, and politeness. Sometimes we think about such skills as the fruit of natural talent. On the contrary, at the beginning of the 16th century, these skills were highly codified and considered as sophisticated art that could be learned. We also often consider these skills as secondary with respect to those that we need for our spiritual formation. They might appear shallow, not so deep, if compared to the inner contemplation, reflection upon one's own spirit, and the like. On the contrary, Ignatius's history tells us a different story. This aspect of social regulation will appear crucial for him after the Enlightenment in Manresa, when he will see his spiritual mission as to be conducted within and for the world, within and for others. These arts will appear for him the main gate through which a meaningful communication could be initiated. Gentleness, amiability, the art of communicating provided the access for him to those who became the first supporters of his and companions. As you begin your pilgrimage here in Arevalo, please remember that you are not alone in this journey. You have companions with you, people with whom you will share the same experience in a mutual way. While you enjoy your week here, looking for seeing God in all things, please be sociable, be conversational, be open and polite, as Ignatius learned during his years here in Arevalo. I will see you again in Pamplona, our next stop. Let's get walking.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Journey with Ignatius, a virtual pilgrimage offered to you by the Institute for Advanced Jesuit Studies in collaboration with the Church in the 21st Century Center and the Rote Center for Catholic Education, all here at Boston College. I'm Father Casey Beaumire, the Vice President and Secretary of the University and Director of the Institute. And on behalf of all of my colleagues here, I'm delighted that we can begin this journey together as we work our way from Arevalo, Spain to Rome, Italy over the next 12 weeks. We are delighted to bring you this app, and all of us have been working hard to put together resources that we believe will be helpful for the journey so that we will arrive safely in Rome. A few details for us as we consider the beginning of our pilgrimage. First, our goal in creating this app is to help all of us grow stronger interiorly by studying and pondering the life of St. Ignatius of Loyola, the founder of the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits. We're highlighting 12 places in the journey of Ignatius of Loyola that ultimately leads him to Rome, where he and his companions created the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits, in the year 1540. These 12 weeks provide us with opportunities for us to learn about these 12 places and their significance. Additionally, we have determined that each of these places has a particular spiritual theme that accompanies it, and that each week, as we journey towards Rome, we will explore not only the place, but also the theme. As you make this pilgrimage, you'll be accompanied by my colleague at the Institute, Professor Cristiano Casalini, a research scholar here and the chair in the history of Jesuit pedagogy at the Lynch School of Education and Human Development. Professor Casalini will introduce you to each place, and he will provide us with a deeper understanding and appreciation of the significance of each place. Each week you will be introduced to a new location and the spiritual theme that accompanies that place. You will find 2 excerpts from 2 different Jesuit sources that are available through the Institute: the autobiography of St. Ignatius and Ribadeneira's Life of Ignatius. We've chosen key parts of these texts that we think are very helpful for each of the locations. If you're interested in the complete texts, they are available through our website. So, a very, very warm welcome to each of our pilgrims. Now, for this week's theme that accompanies Arevalo, which is formation. It was in Arevalo that Ignatius experienced a tremendous amount of personal growth. It was where he spent his youth. Each of us has an Arevalo in our past too, a place where we learned or a place where we're growing to learn into becoming the person that God longs for us to be. This week of pilgrimage ought to provide us with opportunities to reflect on our human formation, our personal growth. The question for us to ponder, regardless of our age, regardless of our circumstances, each of us can ask, what kind of person do I desire to become? Remember, we're constantly growing, and you and I are living in a moment of tremendous change, and it's worthy of our consideration to ask once again, in a moment of such transformation, what kind of person shall we become as the future unfolds? Formation always facilitates opportunities for us to become more fully human. A good formation provides access to a variety of experiences, and even better formation provides opportunities for us to reflect upon those experiences and to draw wisdom from them. Formation provides us access to role models and mentors and conversation partners, those people who help us through their very careful listening, their thoughtful questions, their gentle observations, encouragements, and challenges. This virtual pilgrimage, it seems to me, is another kind of experience that has the potential to contribute to our ongoing human formation. This pilgrimage is not meant to be made in isolation. We are to be with others, even virtually. This experience of community can afford us with another opportunity to engage in experience, reflection, and conversation. Let me provide an example of a fruitful, formative experience, one that I often invoke here in my work at Boston College. I live with freshmen, and when I talk to freshmen about a formative moment in their first year, I would say that it's very, very important that sometime in the first year, they experience opportunities where they can learn how to be assertive, where assertion is called for, and to learn how to be accommodating where accommodation is called for, and to learn the difference. Such formative experiences are not handed to people. Each person needs to have experiences, and then they need to have opportunities to reflect upon those experiences. And then they need access to others to talk about the experiences that they've had in order to draw wisdom from those experiences. That's just one example. This week on our pilgrimage, let's have time for reflection and conversation that centers upon your own formative moments of the past. For example, in your prayer, and perhaps even in this week's guest book, you might recall key formative moments in your own life, moments where you have experienced tremendous growth. What was that like for you? Can you recall key conversation partners or mentors, those holy women and men who accompanied you by listening, by asking good questions, by being reassuring for you? How did that person or those persons impact your life and help you become that person that you are today? Has there been a particular place, an Arevalo of sort, that you can recall as being especially sacred, especially important to you because of the growth that took place in that place? So let's walk together this week as we reflect on the gift of formation in our lives, and let us share that wisdom that has been entrusted to us with one another. Again, everyone, welcome to Arevalo, and we look forward to seeing you next week in Pamplona. We wish you a very good journey.